Imagine being able to have an exact copy of your pet. Cool, right? This can be done through cloning. Cloning is a technique done by scientists to make an exact copy, and this can be done on different levels. There's cloning of the genes, cells, tissues, and even the whole organism. Outside of the lab, cloning exists in nature. Single celled organisms such as bacteria make exact copies of themselves all the time. But back to the lab. Scientists often clone genes in order to study and better understand them. Now I know you're wondering, how does cloning work? It works in three different ways. The first one has to do with taking DNA from a living organism and inserting it into a carrier, more specifically bacteria or yeast, and every time the carrier produces, the gene is cloned. The two other ways have to do with animals. We're going to look at embryo twinning and somatic cell nuclear transfer. Embryo twinning is where the scientist splits the embryo in half, and they are both placed in the mother's uterus. The two parts develop into their own unique self, but they share the same genes. Cloning using somatic cell nuclear transfer is different. First, an egg cell has its nucleus and DNA removed, then an animal somatic cell is inserted in place of it. As the egg develops into an embryo, it will have the same genes as the somatic cell inserted. When it reaches the embryonic stage, it is then inserted into the uterus to grow. Does animal cloning actually work? Yes, it does. In 1996, the first ever successful animal cloning was seen with Dolly the sheep. The type of cloning used was somatic cell nuclear transfer. Similar to the example from earlier, an egg cell was taken from a Scottish blackface sheep, and the DNA and nucleus was extracted to make way for a somatic cell taken from a 6-year-old Finn Dorset sheep. The first sign that the clone was successful was when Dolly had a white face like the Finn Dorset sheep and not a black one like her surrogate mother. Since Dolly, scientists have been cloning other animals like cows, cats, deers, etc. How else is cloning beneficial? The embryos made from cloning can be used as a stem cell factory. Stem cells are cells that are still in their early stages and develop into different types of cells and tissues. They can be turned into nerve cells to make insulin to treat diabetes, fix damaged spinal cord, or help scientists study diseases that develop in animals. That's the basic rundown of cloning. Thank you for listening, but don't start cloning your pet for fun because with great power comes great responsibility.